man. I think the truth is, if it's Tuesday during primary season, we're just discussing the next batch of socialists that Democrats want to make the standard bearer of their party in states all around this country. Hakeem Jeffries, with all due respect, has a much less of a significant profile in determining these races than Hasan Piker.
What gives?
Антисемитизм называется распространение вражды к евреям. Когда проклятая еврейская монархия доживала свое последнее время, она старалась натравить темных рабочих и крестьян на евреев.
The most effective tool to divide the American working class, to divide America, is to be a Republican. To be terrified of your neighbors, to constantly tell others to be terrified of their neighbors, to constantly tell others to oppose values that hold us together, the connective tissue that holds society together. We oppose that. That's what Republicans do. That's what Republicans say and do all the time, every day. Culture war over class war.
Exactly what the DSA says you should do. You would eliminate private property. You would get rid of corporate.
You're the greatest threat to our democracy. You're brainwashing people. You're spreading propaganda about letting people doing horrendous things to our population. Brother, I think you are having a hard time hearing me out. I am not a Republican. Okay? You are currently watching on the screen, not me, but on the screen, exactly that. Brainwashing the population, brainwashing the olds specifically, and justifying horrendous things. I gave you an example. The lady initially started the conversation by saying Hasan Piker loves the CCP. Hasan Piker wants to do Tank Man. Hasan Piker wants to do state repression. You're Fox News. You are literally currently justifying state repression. Every other hour, when you're not talking about me, you're talking about state repression.
Corporate America, and you would get rid of our Defense Department. All of those points are in the DSA national platform. This is not mainstream America at all.
But they're taking over a party,
There's an
David.
election coming up. What we have been dealing with are primaries. Let me finish. There's an election coming up which is going to involve that great middle, and I'm talking about the independent voters, the 40% of American voters.
Dude, they got... Oh my God, it's so funny. We got the Fox News boys talking like centrist Democrats, dude. Oh, the great moderate forces in this country are going to finally realize, the Baileys, they're going to finally realize that Trump is actually far more reasonable. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. Do you understand? I love hearing that. I love hearing my enemies repeat the mistakes of the people that I have to reluctantly support. Okay? That's awesome. Oh, the great middle, the great moderates, they are going to come out in droves and they're going to say, no, better things are not possible. I do not foresee any circumstance. First of all, I oppose the framing of this like great moderate, the median voter that is united on like moderate ideology or whatever. I don't think that's real anyway. It's not real when the Democrats say it. It's not real when the Republicans are now trying that same exact horrendous propaganda, this unsuccessful propaganda. But let's entertain the argument. Let's say that there's a moderate middle there. Why the fuck would they consider Trump to be moderate? Why would people that are demanding moderation look at the current predicament in front of them and go, you know what's the moderate option here? Not the people that are demanding free health care, not the people who are saying America's the wealthiest nation on earth. We should take care of our own citizens. We should stop giving money to endless wars overseas. We should spend that money here on ourselves. Not that side, but the side that is actually Donald Trump, led by Donald Trump, the cult of MAGA. That's the moderate side. That is not a moderate position for anybody. You would literally have to make the Democratic Party Maoist third worldist for there to be a real comparison between what the fuck Trump is doing and what the Democratic Party represents. In the eyes of like the average American, everything that you're saying about me had to be true, and that I would have to be the front runner for the Democrats or something. And only then would Americans be like, yeah, I guess like this is a little crazy for me. This is a little too rich for my blood, you know? Because that's how fucking radical the Republicans have gotten over the last decade.
The more they are exposed to this kind of communist radical stuff that is exactly the opposite of what they have spent their whole lives living, what they have spent their whole lives investing in. Every middle-class American family that represents these people I'm talking right now has either a direct family member or some family member who's been in the military, who has seen members of their family shed blood for the American flag that these people want to wipe their dirty hands on. That.
God damn, they get so animated. There's nothing that gets these guys tweaking. Holy shit.
That is not
Well,
going
we
to
know
fly
they're
with
bad.
middle
Wait a second.
America.
We know they're bad.
corrupting
You're
young
you're
people.
dismissing them at the threat.
I'm not dismissing
This is
anybody.
horrible.
I'm
This
ready
is
to take them
mainstream.
on.
This is
Unlike the
mainstream.
Democrats,
Okay, yeah,
unlike the
but this is-
Democrats and the
but when you
Republicans,
say this
by the
isn't
way, in the Senate.
mainstream,
And it pisses
it is
me off
infecting
that
a
the
mainstream
Republicans,
party.
as well as the
Right,
Democrats, are afraid
And
of these
let me
people.
make one more point. You think there's that much difference between Hasan Piker, his policy standpoints, and much of the stuff that Kamala Harris said?
Yo, dude. Yes. Yes, King. You caught on to our plan. Yeah, Kamala, dude. Kamala Harris. That's awesome. Now I'm offended. Someone said, damn, ultras on Fox. Yeah, no. This is actually an ultra. But you guys failed to recognize this is not a Republican. Okay? Perhaps an Irish Republican. This is an ultra who's saying, like, what's the difference? They're both elements of the same bourgeois electoralist predicament that dampens revolutionary potential of the masses. Like, what are you talking about? None of these are committed Marxist-Leninists. It's clear to me that they are just working hand in glove to defend the liberal Zionist pedophilic Democratic Party. Yeah. Finally, Fox News got brought on an ultra, a real Maoist third worldist who's saying, like, Hasan Piker is not a revolutionary.
About it.
She's not saying it the way that he said it.
But
And
she's
that's the thing.
endorsing, you go down the line, much of the same stuff. Same with Joe Biden. My point is the Democratic Party,
Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Hasan Piker, they're all the same.
Gary, has been hijacked by lunatics. By the way, you presented a very sanitized portion of Hasan Piker's stuff. Yeah. There's stuff that we cannot say on this air. It's so disgusting, so vile.
Yeah, like Medicare for all. Heinous things that have come out of this man's mouth, okay? Terrifying, heinous. We can't even fucking repeat it, dude.
About killing and
October
rape
7th.
and but the other stuff.
Killing
about
and rape?
letting
What are
all
you
the
talking about? Jesus Christ.
immigrants in and let them do X, Y, and Z to change the color.
Oh, there he's talking about the great replacement. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, God. Republicans, man, they will never stop. They will never stop inventing a reality, an alternative reality to be mad at and be terrified by, and then just sincerely being scared of their imagination. Awesome. You miss more racist lob? Well, did I really? Will Kane is calling you a champagne socialist right now. Remember, I told you that was going to be the next line. House and Abi. They're running the hits. It's so funny because, like, I've experienced this stuff. I've experienced this stuff my entire career, right? Like, so it's really funny that they're just like going through the same motion, the same process, and the same fucking propaganda.
Contribute to what he considers to be a good idea, what he considers will make the world a better place. That you have the freedom to go live as a socialist. Go do it, Hasan. What's stopping you?
Okay, so here's why this is ridiculous. And the last point I will make is this. Here's why that conversation is absolutely preposterous. If I gave away the measly earnings that I had and gave away 95% of
How much do you make,
that
Hasan?
wouldn't necessarily even push the needle.
And there's
Wait, why'd they cut it? I'd say I make 65 grand a year because back then I made 65 grand a year. No.
The scam.
Republicans are doing the thing where they act like time doesn't
And
continue.
in more than one experiment. From the USSR to Cuba, the czars never stood in the breadlines like the proletariat. No, in the New World Order, the Turkish immigrant Maoist won't have his caviar seized. He's got a different target, the white middle class.
Mandami's aide, his top aide, Sia Weaver, said if you don't believe in the government's sacred right to seize property, it's over, and impoverish the white middle class.
Beast mode. I love her so much. One of the things about Zoran is that the people surrounding him oftentimes are so much cooler than he is. But that's also part of the reason why I really respect what he's doing.
Beast mode. To be clear, he's praising the opinion of a top aide to the mayor of New York City. So this isn't just about a streamer coming up in the world who has much greater ambitions than when he first came to the United States. He told Cosmopolitan back in 2018, growing up horny in a repressed culture, Piker fantasized about moving to the United States, saying, there's a saying in Turkey that when you go to America, the girls ask to F. He says his parents let him go to the University of Miami, and within a few weeks of his arrival, he was approached to promote a nightclub around South Beach. On the job, he met the first woman he had sex with.
I cannot believe they're hitting the New York Post lines.
We'd all be better off if Piker stayed content running his way through South Beach. But the image of the man whore had to be run through Pravda in order to keep up with his newfound fame. So now we get this from Rolling Stone. When people would ask, what do you want to be? I'd always say, I want to go to college in America. It's actually the most common attitude around the planet. People love the culture and the promise of America, but they effing hate the government. Unfortunately, academia isn't returning the same love for Piker. Something Fox Digital's David Marcus has pointed out. After the University of Washington axed him from its upcoming lecture series, it's
Will
not the
Cain, have me on the broadcast
that are canceling Piker. The left is giving him a taste of his own medicine. And somehow, again, this picture says it all. The joke of this current movement and its messenger. But, as Jerry Baker at the Wall Street Journal points out, the message, the issue that they're capitalizing on is no joke. He writes, inequality is a feature of capitalism and a sign of its health. But it's also empirically obvious that the wider the inequality, the more social solidarity diminishes.
Level 3 hype
has
train,
never been
folks.
the answer, and it isn't now.
Subscribe
Capitalism doesn't
to the
need
Piker Broadcasting
replacing.
Service. Independent
It needs
media.
reaffirming.
Support independent media.
Fox News digital columnist David Marcus and the host of the Mark Davis Show, Mark Davis, join us now. David, do you think that Piker should have been canceled from the University of Washington?
No. No conservative thinks that that is what should have happened. TPUSA immediately came out and defended his right to speak for two reasons. One, conservatives always defend everyone's right to speak. But two, Will, right now, Hasan Piker is to Republicans what cowbell is to Christopher Walken. I mean, they just want more. They need more. They have a fever, and the only cure is Hasan Piker. And Democrats are starting to understand why. They learned this lesson in Michigan, right? Piker was basically El Sayed's running mate the last 2 weeks of that campaign. I was there, and at first it was great. They were like, oh my goodness, we're up 15 points in the polls. We got to get this guy everywhere. Then Election Day happened, and he barely won. If that happens again tonight in Wisconsin, and I suspect it will, if Han badly underperforms after putting her arm around this guy, tomorrow morning is going to be a 5-alarm fire for Democrats saying, how do we shut this guy up? And good luck, because I don't know how you shut him up.
No, it was... Yeah, that's why the race was much closer, because people were like, "This is Hasan Piker guy. We hate him."
People that they're advocating for.
It's because they're living a lie. I mean, obviously they talk a good game, and it's all designed to dangle the promise of free stuff paid for by other people. And the Margaret Thatcher quote: "The problem with socialism is you run out of other people's money." David's point is great. It's going to be fascinating to see what happens with Francesca Hong in Wisconsin. And it's an old Nixon, an old saw from Richard Nixon, political wisdom from the master, that when you're in the primaries, you run toward your party's sort of outermost fringe, and then in the general, you run toward the middle. But how do you run toward the middle when you've been saying patently insane things like these folks have been saying about, defund the police and get rid of ICE and get rid of Thanksgiving, and the police are about white supremacy. It is hard to moderate and mitigate those things. AOC, for example, is trying, but it is dead on arrival. These people are what they are.
It only serves to illustrate that the messengers are a joke. But I do want to return to what Gerard Baker says in the Wall Street Journal, David. The message is not a joke. He writes that inequality is a feature, not a bug, of capitalism. That the greater the economy does at large, unfortunately, what happens is greater spread and inequality. But that also tears down social cohesion. So when people look with envy at others who may have more, they begin to turn towards something like socialism. So how do you deal with the inequality that comes along with capitalism?
Yeah, I'm not as worried about that.
Oh, redistributive policies? Is that what they're advocating for on Fox News now?
I'm not sure why he's so worried about it, but this has been around for a long time. Occupy Wall Street was 15 years ago, right? And we're still not socialist. I think this new message from the Democrats of it's not left, it's not right, it's top versus bottom, I think it's a disaster. Americans don't think of themselves as being at the bottom. Right? At least Occupy Wall Street was saying the 1% versus the 99%. Americans don't think they're at the bottom looking up at rich people. So I don't suspect that this is going to have a lot of purchase. Are gas prices a problem? Sure. Has there ever been a point where the American people said prices are too low? No. So I think this is a little overblown, and we don't need to pay lip service to socialism to address this.
And yet, electorally, Mark, it's a smarter move than where they were 5 years ago. Instead of painting everything as black versus white, they're now in the process of painting this as top versus bottom.
And I think Dave's right. I mean, the people don't look at themselves as being at the bottom, but they have shown a tendency of late to think of themselves as disadvantaged, think of themselves as entitled. Things are expensive. They were expensive during Biden, too, but we didn't have an entire massive amen chorus in the media culture reminding everybody of how expensive everything is. And now we do.
Yes.
And so it's an opportunity to blame
Wait, what? Yes, they
Republicans for it, and an opportunity that they'll try to take. It will also fail for Democrats to come in and say,
guy probably
I'm going to make
did
things
that
more affordable.
at Fox
Well,
News, right? If he was, doing commentary at the time, he was definitely doing that. Like, what?
Okay. Talked about a business crushing higher minimum wage, having everybody pay other people's medical debt, and other objectively disastrous things. Democrats do not have the policies to make things more affordable.
All right. Mark, David, thank you both for being with us here today.
Thanks.
All right, let's check in on the markets. All three major indexes today have closed in the red. Coming up, abortion up until birth.
Awesome segue. Oh, it's kind of funny because they have invented so many alternative realities and so many alternative narratives. I don't even sometimes we look at the modern conservative movement and we're like, there's no consensus reality. How do we get here? And it's well, because for years and years, conservatives have only been able to invent alternative narratives and hypothetical situations to get mad at and get scared by in an effort not to address the ongoing issues, right? And Democrats, for the large part, have not actually tried to move the conversation back to reality and talk about the actual economic crises that were taking place, that were harming Americans in general, and have kind of followed them down this weird rabbit hole where they constantly talk about whatever dumb shit Republicans want to talk about and only bring people back to reality on those issues, right? Republicans will invent something like a war on Christmas, and then Democrats will say, no, there is no war on Christmas. When in fact, Democrats should have been saying, yeah, the only real war on Christmas is the Republicans ruining the economy. And now we've kind of forced the Democrats a little bit to take a issue first stance, to take a economic to take a stance that revolves around policy, to take a issue first campaign that revolves around Medicare for all and how we're going to help the American working class. So now the Democrats are snapping into that, and all of this stuff that the Republicans are doing, where they talk about the dangers of socialism, the dangers of communism. Whenever they accidentally reveal the issues that Democrats are running on, but more so Democratic Socialists are running on, they end up doing promotion for the National Party. I like that the Will Cain story was literally Hasan Piker fucks. But it's crazy that that was the main line of attack from Will Cain. They've run out of shit. So they're going back to the basics, back to the huge, back to the best they got. I'm a chud-ass loser, folks, unfortunately. He said I'm a man whore. I'm the first male to be slut-shamed. I am the first male victim of the kinds of objectification that women receive. I don't know how we arrived at this. Not like, men broadly are also victim to the patriarchy. That's not what I'm talking about. But like male objectification is not the same thing. Usually men are not perceived as like objects of sexual desire due to patriarchal constructs. And it feels so strange. They're treating me like a woman. I'm getting the woman treatment. And it's working. Yeah, apparently Fox News is also claiming that I won the Senate in Michigan. I'm on the ballot apparently, and that's Joe Manchin saying that, former West Virginia Senator, Democrat Joe Manchin, one of the worst Democrats out there.
They're afraid to speak up.
Senator, it seems like the voters are talking, though, and they're making themselves heard. In Michigan, Hasan Piker won that election. This is a swing state. We've got another swing state here where, not the primary, I should say, where Francesca Hong looks like she's going to win this primary. So it seems like if Democrats are where you're saying they should be able to win in these places.
But they're afraid to speak up.
Yeah, congrats on the win. Thanks, guys. Thanks. It's not a big deal. I mean, I couldn't have done it without all of you. We did it. Yeah. It's just, what do you say? What do you say to this? Emily writes, I've been taking my time to really process the entire Hasan bad media outreach cycle, and the more I watch it unfold, the more depressing it gets. Yes, Hasan says stupid shit sometimes. I disagree with him sometimes. None of that changes how fucking disturbing it is to watch the media take the most inflammatory clip they can find, remove everything that came before it and after, and assign the worst possible interpretation of what he meant, slap a headline on it, repeat it across multiple outlets, and eventually turn that manufactured version into accepted reality. Once the narrative takes hold, context barely fucking matters anymore, providing it immediately gets dismissed as defending Hasan, which of course conveniently avoids having to question whether the original framing was accurate in the first place. And I think that's what I've been processing most through all of this. We have this incredibly simplistic idea of propaganda as blatant lies or government messaging when so much of it happens through framing, omission, repetition, selective outrage, and deciding which pieces of information the public gets to see. Watching this whole media circus unfold has genuinely changed the way I consume political coverage, which is a pretty fucking depressing thing to admit as a former journalist. I was trained to understand the importance of context, sourcing, framing, and the responsibility that comes with shaping how people understand the world around them. And listen, I knew media bias and propaganda existed. Of course I did. I just don't think I fully appreciated how effective the machinery is until I started consciously watching it happen. Once you see it, you start seeing the same shit everywhere. Yeah, I think a big part of the punishment is because of my prominent critiques of Israel. And that's why there's almost this like universality to the barrage of propaganda coming, not just from Fox News, because Fox News has always shifted reality, right? Fox News has always tried to shift reality and seen much success in shifting reality as people understand it. The problem is Fox News also is the main editor for the news cycle, and we can't let that happen, right? And in the past, at least, like liberal media would push back against certain things that Fox News was saying. They would try to do fact checking and things of that nature. They don't do that anymore. And especially on this issue, they don't do that as either. So as long as they can maintain some kind of allegiance on this issue and this issue alone to like punish a prominent critic of Israel this way, then they're going to do it. It's a multi-front, multi-pronged approach. And it's sad to see that liberal media basically gives so much air to the barrage of insane Republican points of manufactured outrage. Fox News is the Republican fake news channel. That's it. Yeah, but the issue is that like CNN shouldn't be leaning into this shit, but CNN is also now bought out. CBS is also now bought out. So we broadly are losing like any kind of serious media, any kind of serious, like somewhat impartial liberal media that would play an important function. We can't expect all the 65-plus-year-olds to come back and seek out independent media, right? I mean, some of them do. Some of them watch like Media Matters, and that's great. But there is a reason. There's a reason why the Ellison corporate takeover was so devastating. This is part of that reason, because it's not just that the reactionary forces own Fox News. Rupert Murdoch owns Fox News, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, California Post. Like, there's already a tremendous amount of reactionary media out there in virtually every medium. But now the Ellisons are purchasing CBS. The Ellisons are purchasing CNN. The rest of the media outlets that are supposed to be liberal or somewhat impartial, that care about doing like at least decent journalism every now and then, they see these shifts that are taking place, and they're also fearful. That makes journalists and editors in editorial teams think twice before they broadcast an oppositional framing on whatever the Republicans are channeling, whatever the Republicans want to manufacture. Whether they want to manufacture consent or outrage doesn't matter. And it's not just about me, of course. It's about all these issues, right? I mean, every moment that MSNBC or CNN channels the Republican outrage and takes it on as though it's sincere, as though it's a shared resentment that they also understand, when they hand it to the Republicans like this, they're not actually talking about the issues that matter. There's only a finite amount of time that we have on God's green earth. There's only a finite amount of time that you have throughout the day. There's only a couple hours in prime time. And if the primetime slot is occupied by whatever the fuck the Republicans want you to freak out about, it's not being occupied by the real issues that matter. The cost of living crisis, Donald Trump's corruption, Donald Trump's insanity, his violence, the violence of ICE, his failure to follow through on the promises that he made to his own audience, his own base of support. That's the problem, okay? That is the issue. That's the real problem. It's just totally busted. But once again, the opportunity that we have is to, be steadfast in our advocacy, talk about the issues that matter, recenter the conversation on data centers, recenter the conversation on Israel, recenter the conversation on Medicare for all, recenter it around universal child care, federal jobs guarantee, things that we care about, things that we know are going to be broadly helpful to as many Americans as possible. We will come out on top if we continue pushing through. And of course, you have a job, a responsibility if you choose to take it on, but you can talk to your family, you can talk to your neighbors, you can show them how ridiculous this stuff is and be like, look, they talked about transgender people, they talked about the war on Christmas, they talked about all this other stuff, they talked about how dangerous immigrants were. Okay, they banned the transgender athletes. Did your life get better? They started packing up and kidnapping our neighbors, saying that they were undocumented migrants that were doing crimes. Did your life get better? It got worse. Now they're doing the same thing with Hasan Piker. Now they're doing the same thing with DSA, saying socialism is this terrifying prospect. I say we're out of options and we should choose that alternative. We should seek out an alternative solution. Because at the end of the day, these people want to defend the status quo, and the status quo has not defended you. They're making an enemy out of those who recognize the dangers of abiding by the status quo. You can have these sorts of conversations. You have a unique opportunity. Just as though I've told you, you have a unique opportunity to change the dynamic of races when you talk to your family, when you talk to your neighbors about Abdul al-Sayed, about Francesca Hong, when they get inundated with a barrage of negative media coverage. You have the opportunity to turn that negative media coverage into name recognition and an opportunity to tell them what the actual policies are and also explain to them why that negative media coverage is coming out. You can do that. You can do that in defense of DSA, in defense of myself as well. We've truly hit the scratch liberal moment with shit like this. Yeah, update. Neera Tanden has added Laura Loomer to her cadre of fascist rapists and scumbags she elevates in her obsession with Hasan. At what point does the board of directors at American Center for American Progress rein in their deranged president and CEO, or does CAP support her incautious antics? Yeah. Rape Tone, Nicholas Fuentes, Sex Pestiny, and now Laura goddamn Loomer, dude. I've been trying to get my parents to see that they're not actually getting diverse perspectives from MS Now, but it's an uphill battle. I mean, you just got to be steadfast, and eventually there will come an issue where they see eye to eye on there will come an issue eventually where they recognize your anger, right? And that's the moment where you can, drive a wedge between their commentary and the coverage that they've experienced thus far, and maybe feed a little bit of diversity into their media diet. It's an inevitability because these guys drop the ball in spectacular fashion all the time. This is one of those instances, right? Israel-Palestine is one of those instances where many of your parents even began to recognize the severity of the crisis, and they weren't getting the necessary media coverage. It was insufficient, and they started seeking out alternatives like Zeteo, like Dropsite, Democracy Now!, Al Jazeera. They came here. They went to Majority Report. So yeah, I think that there's always an opportunity. There's always an opportunity to diversify your parents' media diets. And I say your parents because, of course, they are the ones who are most likely to be consuming mainstream news. They're the ones who are most likely to be getting their notes from MS Now, from CNN, from CBS, not realizing that they're being force-fed propaganda that unfortunately is very much in line with Fox News. So that's the other thing. We should probably do a clip compilation of what CNN panelists are saying, what MS Now panelists are saying, and what Fox News is saying, and showcase the similarities between the two. Showcase the similarities on this issue. This is they're single-minded on this issue. You can do that for Israel. You can probably do that for data centers. You can do that for the Democratic Socialists of America, and you could do that for me. That's probably a really good way to just get them to understand, why are they saying the same shit that Fox News is saying? Doesn't that strike you as odd? Has Trump called you out by name yet? No. I have not been called out by Donald Trump. I'm sure the day is coming. I don't know. I just don't understand why. I mean, I don't mind it. I'm happy. It means Chatter thinks you're too harsh. Nah, they kind of right.
What would be the first thing you would want to do as governor? Is there any one thing that you would want to do as governor?
Day one.
We want to make sure that we're calling in a special session for the legislation on the moratorium of data centers.
And what do you say to Democrats unsure about what democratic socialism is? What's your pitch to them, and how do you define democratic socialism?
One that puts people first, where we have our local governments funded. They can fix potholes. They can make sure that we have great schools. The things that we are fighting for, universal child care, the fully funding public schools. Today is the day that the Green Bay Packers were founded, a publicly owned NFL team. I think that Wisconsin has a proud history of progressivism, and the policies that we are fighting for honor that, but more importantly, they honor working class people who should be first in government.
Hong Dynasty, baby. Hong Dynasty. Do you want Zoran to go for governor or the Senate? Oh, I don't know. If AOC is running for president, Zoran would be great for Senate. Yeah, people will see these Mamdani Save Us videos across the nation and question why Hong is ahead in the polls. People from Indiana are asking Mamdani to come fix their broken water fountains, dude. This is how a movement grows, baby. This is how a movement fucking grows. Zoran for president, release the jank files? Yeah.
But I think the guy that's on the docket right now, and Harold, I'll see if you agree with me, is Hasan Piker. Because all those people left his side, her side. So Bernie Sanders left, AOC left, all the famous socialists. I'm not campaigning with them. The only person still standing there is Hasan Piker. So if she blows a double-digit lead in the end, when in today's primary results, which are coming in a few hours, it's going to be his fault. Harold, do you agree with everything I said?
Dude, what is going on, man? What is happening? Oh, I don't understand it. I just don't know. I don't know what to say. I've run out of words. I speak for 8 hours a day, and I've run out of fucking words to describe what we are experiencing, dude. I'm running for Michigan Senate. I'm running for governor in Wisconsin. I'm running in Florida. I'm literally running everywhere all at once. What the fuck, dude? Dog, I'm a motherfucking Twitch streamer, man. What the hell is going on, dude? It is unbelievable. What the hell is going on? These motherfuckers literally find a way to turn everything back to my impacts. I'm the new George Soros. They are preying on my motherfucking downfall, dude. Like, look at this. This is Fox News. Morning glory. Michigan's Democratic Senate primary had 2 winners, but only one was on the ballot. Hasan Piker's allegiance with Abdulrahman Mohammed El Sayed could reshape Michigan Senate race. Pod Save America accused of temporarily deleting clip critical of Piker after ex-Biden staffer amplified it. Joe Scarborough goes scorched earth on Democrats not separating themselves from Hasan Piker. What these guys don't understand is like the Hasanabi hate train is not as bountiful and as great as you think. It will make you go crazy. It will make you go crazy. It will make you lose support. And it's not because I'm such a fucking powerful or popular entity or being, okay? Certainly not the case. But when you become like single-mindedly invested in this thing, invested in this ordeal, okay, you end up losing sight of reality. In this environment of media attacks, if you would like to say, hey, I want to show support for independent media, I want to show support for the Piker Broadcasting Service, the People's Broadcasting Service, please subscribe, which you can do for $6 a month or for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You get one free Prime subscription a month. Use it on your favorite, most radical broadcaster, the enemy of mankind, Hasan Piker. Many people have quite literally stunted their own growth, destroyed, diminished what opportunity they previously had. Okay? Whether it be sex pestiny and where he is in his own career, where he could have been potentially in his own career if he just like was a normal liberal guy. Is it because you're ruining their version of LARP politics by pointing out the contradictions? I guess. I don't know. Whether it be Ethan Klein. Have you seen a bump in combined viewership across streams? I think there has been a modest blip. There has been a modest increase in the viewership. I think like maybe less than 10%, but still significant nonetheless. But I don't know how much of that is because of the additional excitement and the additional interest in primaries, and how much of that is actually a byproduct of this extra media attention. I don't know who is coming in. There's probably a little bit of roachflation as well. There's probably some Asmongold fans in here that are just so bored out of their dang minds because they don't have like steady insight into American politics as they get filtered through the Asmongold lens. New watcher, knew about you. The media anti-hype made me a fan. Hell yeah, Thorny Wallflower. My copium is this, okay? Every attack launched against me is wasting airtime attacking our candidates, okay? That's the way I see it. In the attention economy, they could be deploying all of this enmity in the direction of our candidates, and instead, they're deploying it in the direction of the sin eater, the tank. I will draw the aggro so that our candidates will be able to clear the field, clear the media space for their policies so they can have normal conversations about, their positions and whatnot. The more the Republicans choose to talk about me, the less they yell about these candidates. And that they can just present me as a bad person. I wish that there was more support from liberal media, I'll be honest. I wish there was more honesty in the liberal media side of things. If they were just like maybe a little bit more tactical. I made a point about this earlier with the University of Washington. The University of Washington is a public school. They're literally not allowed to cancel as a public school. They're not allowed to cancel speakers. It's a violation of the First Amendment. And yet, University of Washington did this, right? They got pressured, according to the JNS article, they got pressured from legislators as well. It's a direct violation of the First Amendment. And now Fox News is actually taking ownership over it while simultaneously saying like, oh, well, it's only Republicans that are speaking out to defend Hasan Piker. And it's true. It's such a sad state of affairs that Andrew Colvett of Turning Point USA is one of the few prominent figures that has actively come out and spoken out against this. No Democrat did, no liberal pundit did, because every liberal pundit is too busy talking about how I am literally an Al-Qaeda affiliate or something, you know, how I'm actually the most dangerous, most radical anti-Semitic terrorist in the country. I said I wish the Dems were smarter and didn't let the right-wing groups be the only people who speak out against this clear violation of the First Amendment, but unfortunately my position as a prominent critic of Israel stops them from using this moment to show GOP as arch cancel culture warriors. In a normal world, Neera Tanden would be making a fuss about this, not retweeting Laura fucking Loomer because she's attacking me. It sucks that prominent liberals in media and prominent liberals in the Beltway consultant class actually lean into these right-wing attacks, and they're actually leaning into the right-wing attempts at cancel culture because they see someone like myself, they see our community as a far greater threat to their comfortable sinecures that they will protect no matter what than the growth of fascism in this country that they simply are championing, that they're simply collaborating on. It's really fucked up. That's part of the disciplining operation, too. That's part of the disciplining operation. When the overwhelming majority of media coverage is unbelievably negative for the last fucking month or so, no one's going to want to stick their neck out.
So White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, slamming the rise of radical Democrats. It comes as far-left streamer and activist Hasan Piker has campaigned with progressive Democrats this primary cycle. His appearances have, in many cases, divided the party. Former West Virginia...
What is this? They made... What the fuck? They made like the cutest compilation of our photo. They made a photo book, a photo book of us. They made a scrapbook. This is awesome. They're sort of making fan cams and collages, dude.
Senator Joe Manchin joins us in just a moment. But first, Chief Washington correspondent Mike Emanuel reports live from D.C. Hi, Mike.
Martha, good morning. It's fascinating how much far-left media personality Hasan Piker divides the Democratic Party. Michigan Democratic nominee for the Senate, Abdul El-Sayed, appeared with Piker at a posh pool party. Then El-Sayed is pressed on Piker's suggestion that America deserved 9/11.
Of course it was a dumb statement. And of course, I think Hasan himself would say that was a dumb statement. He disavowed it. So yes, America didn't deserve 9/11.
Piker's a hot commodity with far-left figures like El-Sayed, Francesca Hong in Wisconsin, and New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani, but not with some more mainstream Democrats.
I call real communists that are cheering for communism.
This is such a funny thing that they keep doing. Yeah, dude, I'm more of a real Democrat than John Fetterman is. Like, yeah, okay. Yeah, what else? I mean, don't let the fucking Maoist LARPers hear about that. They're going to be like, oh, there it is. He admitted it. Yeah. More mainstream Democrat John Fetterman, who is only on Fox News. Notable mainstream Democrat John Fetterman, who already said if he's the deciding vote in the Senate majority, will leave the Democratic Party and then blame me for it. I noticed this dipshit started wearing suits. You think he's doing it to copy me? Because he refused to wear suits for the longest time. Maybe he just thought it looked silly if he's like yelling about a Twitch streamer wearing a suit when he's not wearing a suit as a senator. Well, I don't think he made that decision, but maybe his Israeli handler did. Cedin deden Nesrin baban.